There are certain people who just move with a different kind of energy. They're not the loudest ones in the room, they don't broadcast their every move, but you can feel their focus. There's this quiet power to their silence. It's a pretty provocative idea, right? But it really makes you question our whole modern obsession with being seen, with, performing success before we've actually put in the work to earn it. So, we're going to pull back the curtain on this pretty rare group of people. And by the end of this, you'll get the deep psychological mechanics that fuel them. And you might just start seeing your own ambition in a totally new light. Let's dive in. Okay, so first, we've got to understand the fundamental difference in how they operate. And just to be clear, this isn't about being an introvert. No. This is a strategic choice. I mean, just think about your social media feed for a second. It's basically a giant stage, right? People are performing their hustle. They're sharing motivational quotes, announcing their next big thing. While the quiet achiever, they just bypass that entire theater. They're not out there practicing for the play. They're in the back, building the entire set, brick by silent brick. So if they aren't fueled by all that public praise and validation, what in the world keeps them going? Well, this brings us to the core engine of their discipline, a mind that basically runs on autopilot. Think of it like two totally different operating systems. The performer, they run on motivation. It's this fleeting emotion that needs constant external fuel. Likes, comments, applause. It's a pretty fragile system when you think about it. The quiet achiever, though, they're fueled by identity. Their work isn't just something they do, it's a direct reflection of who they are. And there's actually a psychological term for this. It's called automaticity. This is what real discipline looks like, after all the initial excitement and hype fades away. It's just the raw ability to execute, day in and day out, without needing to feel inspired. The action has become so ingrained, it's as natural as breathing. So here's the absolute crucial point. They have completely severed the link between feeling and action. For them, showing up isn't some choice they have to negotiate with their mood every morning. It's a non-negotiable part of their identity. A painter paints, a runner runs. End of story. There's no debate. And this quiet consistency helps them avoid the single biggest psychological trap out there. A trap that honestly derails countless ambitious people every single day. Psychologists actually call this phenomenon the goal paradox, and it works like this. You announce a big, exciting goal, your friends and followers respond with praise and likes, your brain gets a nice little hit of dopamine, that reward chemical. But here's the problem. You got the reward before you did the work. So your brain gets this false sense of accomplishment, and feeling satisfied, it just quietly dials down the motivation to actually go after the goal. The quiet achiever gets this, even if it's just on an intuitive level. By keeping their ambitions to themselves, they avoid that premature dopamine hit. They keep that psychological tension, that hunger alive. And that hunger is the real fuel for execution, not the applause. Okay, so if they're not collecting likes or looking for validation from the crowd, how do they measure their progress? I mean, how do they even know if they're winning? And that's really the key question, isn't it? If you strip away that entire external system of validation that our culture is built on, what's actually left? The answer is, they're playing a completely different game, scored on a totally different board. See, most people are playing with an external scoreboard, where their sense of self-worth is tied to notifications and what other people think. The quiet achiever uses an internal scoreboard. They're judging themselves against their own standards, their own potential. And the benefits of operating this way are just immense. It creates this rock-solid sense of self that doesn't get tossed around by the chaotic whims of the outside world. It lets them sidestep that endless, miserable trap of social comparison, and it lets them prioritize what really matters, mental clarity, and a deep sense of inner peace. So, all of this builds to one final, really powerful idea about who these people truly are and the advantage they hold. Because they aren't so busy broadcasting their every thought, they're free to do something way more valuable. They observe. They learn from the mistakes and the successes of all the performers out there. They gather data, they see patterns, they understand the game, all while keeping their own cards completely hidden. It makes them incredibly grounded, strategic, and often really unpredictable. To really get this, let's use a quick analogy. Picture the loud performers, the ones constantly posting their progress. Think of them as the crashing waves on the surface of the ocean. They make a lot of noise, they're very visible, and they create a lot of spray. But the quiet achiever, they're the deep-sea current, totally unseen from the surface, silent, moving with this immense, focused, unstoppable force. You see the difference? The waves are just surface-level noise, but the deep current, that has the real power. It's the force that actually dictates the direction and the movement of the entire ocean. One is performance, the other is power. So the next time you see someone just quietly working in the shadows, don't ever mistake their silence for lack of drive. What you're probably witnessing is a mind that is just too busy building to care about who's watching. It's the ultimate sign of self-awareness and profound inner security. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. For you, in your own life, with your own ambitions, who is the scoreboard for? Are you building for the temporary applause of an audience? Or are you building something real, something timeless, for yourself? Because really, that answer will define everything.